All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to a new CTC tool, Dataset Wizard. Just kidding, Justin, cut that part out. All right, hello, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. I am Jason Artley. I am an AEC Technical Specialist here with ATG USA. We are an Autodesk Platinum partner, and we also partner with other software companies that provide the best solutions for our customers. Today, I'd like to highlight a special tool from a special piece of software from CTC. In the CTC CIM Project Suite, there's a great tool called the Data Wizard. And today, we're going to do a quick little dive in to what it can do for you and your projects in Civil 3D or AutoCAD. So as I mentioned, this is just one tool of what's available in the CIM Project Suite. This is going to allow us to generate tables by scanning our drawing to get various information such as blocks or hatch patterns, and it's going to allow us to calculate links and pull that data right from our drawing, depending on what drawing we're in, or we can even filter it down to what viewport. It's very powerful. So we're going to go through, we're going to create a legend first. We'll scan the drawing and it'll go through and find what blocks and different survey figures are inside the drawing to generate that legend. And then we'll do another version where we're going to calculate all the quantities, where it will give us the links and counts and areas of our different objects in the drawings. And then we're going to go through and actually have it scan the drawing for multi-leaders that have keynotes attached to them. So as we can go through and associate our legends and our construction plans, this is going to work perfect for that. So with that, my PowerPoint is actually pretty simple. I'm going to jump right into the software. All right, so here I'm in Civil 3D 2020. This does work in all versions up 17, 18, 19, and 20. And I've got this a couple sample data sets here. We're going to start with our legend creation. So I'm going to go through and open up the Data Wizard on the CIM Project Suite ribbon. So I'm going to choose Setup Table first. This is going to scan the drawing for a second, and the dialog box will pop up. Here we can choose a template. So as we go through and configure this, we can always save this to a template, as we see down here in the bottom left, and then just recall that template. So as I go through and mess with some of these features, don't think that you have to do this every single time. So here I'm going to go through. I've got my current drawing. I could scan external references if I'd like, or include additional drawings. But in this case, I'm just going to limit it to my site plan layout. So that's referring to this particular viewport right here in my drawing. And I'm also going to select include partially visible objects. So that means if my viewport is cutting something off, it's still going to count that. So as I go through this one, I'm just going to hit next. And here's everything that's possible that it can find. Anything from 3D polylines, alignments, blocks, survey figures, hatches, so on and so forth. So I'm going to select what I want, and I'm just going to hit refresh. It's going to scan the drawing, and now it's saying, oh, well, I found 525 survey points. I found 40 different survey figures and 5 hatches. Now, I can totally filter this. So if I want to exclude layers that are frozen, you'll see that my filtering items have gone down. So I'll just turn that off real quick. And I can also go deeper in here. So if I were to choose the filter button here, as I click it, it'll come up. I can choose, do I want it to combine like items? Do I want it to separate the items, or do I want to separate them with a summary? So some of these different features take a little bit of experimentation and what you like, but of course, when we're done, we're just going to save this template. So I can choose what layers I want to include or exclude, and I can also weed my duplicates. So if I have a lot of tree blocks, for example, sometimes they're 6-inch or 12-inch or 18-inch, that part may not matter. I just want to show the tree symbol. That's where I would type in my wildcard to weed those duplicates. So I'll just leave that as is for now, and I'm going to come over here and hit next. Now I can see these are my objects. I've got my graphic. I have various information. I've got 12 of these survey points in here. I'm going to come up to the top and choose Data to Extract. Let's take a look at what our options are in this dialog. So I can choose, do I want to see the graphic of that particular block or feature line? Do I want the layer name or the layer description? In this case, I'll choose the layer description because that's going to give it a little bit more logical information. I'm going to take off full description for now. I'll take off style description. But I do want, since this is a legend, I really don't need my links and counts quite yet. I do want to see my hatch patterns, and I should be good to go. So I'll hit OK, and we'll hit next again. And this is where we configure what the actual table is going to look like. So I have more data sorting options like I just did in that last window. I can choose my cell size. So this is all going to be using an AutoCAD table. In this case, I do want to include my legend. So I'm going to click on the legend title button, and I can configure this to say whatever I like. And I can change my graphic scale vectors, and I'm going to come down here. So here I can choose, when I hit finish, this is going to generate an AutoCAD table that's set to this particular AutoCAD style for that table. So I've got a few different ones. We're going to go here. I'll choose my paper space legend. And at the same time, I could also export this to Excel. So very handy function. So we're going to hit finish. And we're going to drop this in here. It's going to scan the drawing again. It's going to go through. And it's going to pop this in just like that. Now I've got some filtering to do, obviously, to get this to look perfectly. But we can see we've got building hatches. So there's that hatch that refers to this hatch in our drawing. Same thing here and same thing here. So each one of these layer descriptions is in here. I chose my hatch pattern. That's giving me the name. I obviously don't want that. So we can go back and update that table as well. So once this is in here, this does stay dynamic to the drawing. So should there be new signs or fire hydrants or anything else that's inserted in the drawing, all I have to do is hit update table, and it's going to add that right to my legend. So I don't need to actually go through every time and verify. It's always going to stay dynamic to what's actually in that drawing. Pretty cool. So that was just a quick run over of the legend feature. We're going to jump to another drawing and see what it's going to do for our quantities. So in this data set, I have a lot more things going on. This is a small little parking lot. I've got some trees and some shrubs, and I've got some feature lines that represent my curve lines. I've got my building, grassy areas, so on. So I'm going to try this again. I'm going to come up to my setup table. It's going to scan the drawing, and I'm just going to hit next. It's just going to go through this layout for this current drawing. Go through, hit refresh, see what we have. Well, we've got some blocks in here, some feature lines, some hatches, and some polylines. Perfect. We've got a lot of data that we're going to go through and configure. So I'll hit next again. Now I've got my blocks. On this window, I can actually pop this open and see what's in here. So this is something I didn't do in the legend one, but we'll go through and we can see exactly what's going on. I can filter these by clicking on the header. So if I wanted to make those alphabetical, that's all I need to do. So we're just going to go through and hit next. Same thing again. I do want my title. This time I'm going to call it quantities. And we will go through. This time I will also select the Excel table. Let's see how that looks. And I'm just going to hit finish. Since my little area is a little small, I'm just going to jump this off to the side and we'll take a look at what it says. So it's going to process real quick, double check that everything's right. This is going to come in mighty large, but we can always adjust that by changing our templates. So you see that Excel just opened automatically when that XLS file was created. So in here we have our blocks, we have our layer description, we've got our length, our count, our area. So whatever is applicable to that particular item. So blocks obviously don't have areas or links. We only have the count. So I can see that I have 11 overhead lights. As I come down, I have my hatches. So I've got almost 660 square feet of 4-inch concrete walk. That's awesome. So this is already configured. I can include this into my reports or in my plans, and then I'm ready to go. So I'm going to close this Excel, and we'll take a look at what the drawing did. Similar thing, a little bit larger. I still need to configure some sizes, but this can all be done. I really just want to show you how this is pulling that information and all of that deep data that's inside of all of these things. So going through and having to do this manually would be a lot of work. So what we would do is we configure this to match our company standards or the type of plan we're going to do. We're going to save those templates. We're going to make them easily accessible for our other users. And all we can do is make sure that every single one of our tables or quantities is always going to come and look in the same way and it's looking for the same thing. Pretty cool. So with our quantities, I'm going to jump over to our last demonstration here. And this is going to be walking through a similar workflow, but this time we're going to be looking for keynotes. So keynotes are a very popular way to do drawing design and doing callouts instead of using text all the time. If I use these little multi-leaders that explain what's going on, obviously my little leader here is a little messed up. Let's fix that real quick. So these are configured. You can see that when I click on them, they are annotative. So they are a very powerful tool that you can use. So we'll get these keynotes in here. I'm going to come back to my CIM Project Suite, come over to my Data Wizard, and I'm going to set up my table again. And we'll scan the drawing. This time, we're only going to look for multi-leaders. So if I hit refresh, I should see about 12 in there. Perfect. Again, I can come over to my filter, let this load. I can always filter things if I have them separated on different layers. If I just wanted to do, if I had a multi-leader that was a paving note versus a grading note, something like that, I could do all that filtering right there. So we'll come through here, hit next again, and we'll just drop this in like so. And my graphic scale is a little large, but we can see what's going on here. So this octagon here for number 1 is our Douglas fir. So we have that note in our drawing right there. So it's going through and it sees only what is in here. So really neat tool that we can use to get our call outs in here. So I actually want to fix my table. So I'm going to erase this real quick. I'm going to come up to setup table again. I'm going to fix that graphic height. Got to end on a high note here. So we're going to come over here and hit next. I'm going to change my symbol scale. Let's just make that 0.1. See how that looks. Come over here, drop that in. That looks a lot better. So this is ready to go. It's already gone through. And of course I can configure this if I wanted to include counts, things like that. I have all of those options in this legend, all in the Data Wizard from the CIM Project Suite. So with that, it's a pretty simple tool to use. Once it's configured to look for what you want it to do, you're going to get easily repeatable results that are always going to look good because it's going to be using those AutoCAD styles or those AutoCAD table styles that are going to come out on the right layer. So everything's going to be configured for your company. So this has been just one tool of the CIM Project Suite. If you're ever interested in seeing more of what these powerful tools can do, feel free to drop me a line at jartley@atgusa.com. And always stay tuned for future webinars and mini trainings that we're going to be doing for more of these CIM project suites and the CIM Manager Suite and a lot of the other software that we can help you with here at ATG USA. So thanks again for tuning in to today's webinar. This has been a special edition. We're broadcasting live from Autodesk University. Hope to see you at Midwest University, something that ATG puts on. This will be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, right around St. Patrick's Day. So mark your calendar, take a look at midwestu.com, and we will see you there. Thanks again. We'll see you later.